Good morning. This is Shawn Sandridge, and I am back for another Jumpstart January video. So I haven't done my intro for a while, but I'll do it today. Did you know you can find me on other social media platforms? Oh yes, you can. You can find me on Periscope, you can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram. Same name, keeping it simple. So I hope you are enjoying my Jumpstart January videos. They are coming to a close. I will be doing the marathon that is the Celebrity Apprentice tonight. And I'm hoping to be back with my review this evening. Hoping nothing happens that derails me. I went to the gym this morning, early this morning. Since I have to drop my son off in the morning, I make sure that I have all my stuff, my clothes already prepared, and all that stuff so that I can, after dropping the boys off in the morning for their 6 a.m., I get my workout in. So it's just getting me all into. Hey y'all, it's Saturday. I'm just checking in. I'm gonna chop it up and put these in my outtakes. I just finished meeting with a client and waiting on another client. I got about 20 minutes. So I figured I'd just come in. I'll use this as one of my intros for my Jumpstart January video. And what a difference a week makes, man. Last week, I was out enjoying the sun beating down on my face. Look at me now. I got my military grade parka on. I've got my winter ear covers. And check this out. I ain't playing. It's cold, man. These are the best things ever. Check them out. They're my mittens. Inside, it's gloves. So mittens keep your hands warmer. But inside, I got individual spots for my fingers, and then a spot for those little plastic heat warmers. Yes, my husband sent me, he gave me a whole box for Christmas. So I ain't playing. So yeah, so I just check in, no biggie, for Jumpstart January. I'll probably put this in my intro for tomorrow. But I've been watching people's videos, and C.D. Mitchell was talking about, she was commentating on an open letter that BET sent to Chrisette Michele, dragging her. Oh my gosh, I bet you she wished she had a crystal ball. I bet you if she had any idea how all this backlash she's getting, I know she did not think that it would be this bad. I know she didn't. Poor thing. But you want to know who is happy about all these headlines? Kim Burrell. I bet. I mean, I know she's not happy that she's getting all this backlash, but nobody's talking about Kim Burrell. The heat is off her. Is on now. It's hot potato. And now Chrisette Michele is feeling the heat. She's in the fire. Poor thing. Poor thing. I feel bad for her. I really do. And I feel bad for her not because, you know, if you would think, I mean, in the context, you would think that she killed somebody. You would have thought that she, you know, I don't know, committed treason or something. And I said she was going to have to answer to her fans and answer to her peers. I don't think she saw this happening. I think if she had any idea, she would have stayed away from that. and she's not doing her situation any better by talking. I will reiterate what I said in a previous video. She needs to just lay low and just let the angst and all of the anger that people are having, let it just ride out. Let it just ride out. Let it just ride out. So I was watching Much Love from KY, and she was talking how I guess Omarosa was on The View. I have not seen it, and that she was just downright certifiably rude, trying to take over the interview with The View. But that's her MO. You know, she tried to do that with Wendy, and Wendy was not having it, and it was just the battle of the titans when Omarosa was there on the Wendy Williams show. She was not having it. So it's nothing new. That's the way Omarosa is. Not very Christian like. You know, she's a preacher now. She's an ordained minister. That is not how you should conduct yourself when you're trying to you know, win friends and influence people. Not very nice. But I mean, I don't put anything past her. I don't put anything past her. So I'll be back on the videos soon. So have a good one. Stay warm wherever you're at, and if you're in some place that's real sunny, soak up some vitamin D for me. Take care. Good morning. How's everyone doing today for Jumpstart January? I'm doing really well, and I have not forgotten about the Married to Medicine video. I went out last night and it just wasn't going to happen, so please forgive me, but you will get it. I hope you watch it, even though I know everyone else has put out their video, and I have not watched anyone's video because I don't want to have anybody else's interpretation of my review. So look for it this afternoon. I promise, I promise, I promise. Okay, so throughout TV, well, the YouTube world, a lot of YouTubers have been talking about the woman who accused Emmett Till of whistling and doing inappropriate things to her. And if those of you don't know about Emmett Till, Google him. I grew up knowing about the story of Emmett Till, and I actually back in the day when Ebony and Jet magazine was, you know, in every black household, I remember looking at the Jet magazine during the anniversary of Emmett Till's death and seeing the horror that was the remains of this young 14-year-old boy, and how he was mutilated and lynched and dismembered, you know, and thrown in the water and not found for a while. And any of you who knows that when your body's in the water for a while, it's not very sightly, and that his mother wanted the world to see what these men did to her baby boy, to her 14-year-old young boy who was from Chicago and going down south, and wanted the world to see the atrocities of racism. And I remember seeing that young man in the casket, bloated, and his eye missing, and she did not want the funeral directors to try to fix him up. She wanted people to see the dirtiness that is racism. And that forever really was embedded in my head about how evil people can be just because of who you are walking around in this world. And this woman who's still living lied about this young man So I watched a documentary a couple of years ago regarding Emmett Till, and his mother fought to have his name exonerated until she died a few years ago, and this poor woman really just grieved. I believe it was her only son, and she grieved and grieved and grieved, and there's a part of me that back in the day when people were doing these lynchings and stuff, I personally believe that if there are people still living, they should be brought to justice, just like when they find Holocaust people Nazis and people who were perpetrators of atrocities during the Holocaust. It doesn't matter if they're 90 years old. They're still being brought. They're being found and brought. And I think, this woman who's, even though they said during the testimony that her words did not lead to these men doing it, but what else can it be? Why else did they do it? And I think that there's something that should be said in the books, that we find people who are still living, who did Black Wall Street and Rosewood. Why couldn't we treat it just like people who did atrocities during the Holocaust? I think there's something to be said. But if you haven't seen the documentary, it's very, very compelling. I don't remember the name of the documentary. You probably could Google it. And listening to the people who were his classmates, people from the neighborhood, who, relatives, and how that so impacted their lives, which made, I believe Lil Wayne had made a comment in one of his songs, the lyrics about Emmett Till, and why it was so outrageous, and how the family really just was so enraged with the lack of the human decency to disgrace someone who was part of Black history, and obviously he was not well informed about how this young boy was. To even make the kind of lyrics that he did on Emmett Till was really disgraceful and insensitive and reckless, really. So yeah, so I'm watching all the YouTubers. I don't think anything is going to be done to this woman, because she's going to say, in this time I lived in fear and I couldn't say anything. She's going to find a way to backpedal and get out of her testimony. But it just goes to show you, when you have people in this world that still wonder about why some people are so impacted by how racism has affected them. I mean, I can't even imagine being part of the Till family and knowing this, part of your legacy, and hearing the story, that it would not make you feel some kind of way about how people treat other people. So may God rest his soul, Emmett Till. May God rest his mother's soul, because she was really to her, I mean, she made it her life's work to honor her son, and to have the world not forget him, and she did that to her dying day. And as a mother, I can't even imagine being in that situation. And really, she died of a broken heart. She died of a broken heart. And then, of course, I believe that back a few years ago, where I don't remember the name of the cemetery, it escapes my mind, but a lot of people were worried that Emmett Till's gravesite was unearthed or kind of desecrated, because there was a big controversy and scandal that back then there were segregated cemeteries, and that there was a big scandal that a lot of coffins were being unearthed at the cemetery, and people were worried about their family members, and that was one of the things they were worried about Emmett Till's grave as well. So this is why it's important to know your history. It's important to read And I may actually pick up the book and read it. I know it came out, I believe, a while ago. But I did watch the documentary, and you cannot help it but feel sadness. I mean, there was parts where I just started crying, because listening to the fear and the fright of these young men, mainly worried about their safety, being in the presence of a white woman, and that they did not want anything to bring to them. Can you imagine being 14 years old and being woken up in the middle of the night in your sleep, dragged out of your family's home, and your family can't even protect you? And to imagine all of the atrocities that was done to him is frightening. But this is why we read our history. This is why we should still always read our history, so we know, never to forget. So I hope you guys are having a good Sunday for Jumpstart January. It's coming down to a close, but I'll be with you a few more days, and this will be part of my intros. So I will talk to you soon.